Okay, looks good. I'm ready to start putting in those loose hairs around her cheek. But you have to be careful doing this part because dark lines can really change the shape of her face. So be sure to stick to what's there. Don't make any hair up. Just like the eyelashes, be mindful of the shapes you're reproducing. For example, look how putting that one line in brought her cheekbone forward. Okay, I'm going to start by following this long hair down from her ear to her neck. I'll just lightly sketch it in first. Can you see how much putting in these lines gives the illusion of changing the balance and shape of her face? And while we're in this area, pay attention to subtleties like how it gets darker on the rim of her earlobe. I'm using a 2B lead to draw the darker, more solid shapes the hair makes, but afterwards, I'm going to go back with an H lead and put in the fine stray hairs, like this area here. Okay, that's it for this side. Move over to the left-hand side and put in the dominant hairs there. Begin by giving yourself a mark to show you where it ends. Notice it goes down below the access line for her chin. And you can clearly see where the hair starts, right here below the ear. Then give yourself a light line to indicate its angle. And look how far back I'm holding my pencil. You want the maximum amount of control over your pressure when it comes to drawing hair. That's how you keep it looking loose and flowing. I'm putting in some light hairs first and building up to the darker ones. You don't have to draw exactly every hair that's there, just get the shapes and values right. Again, don't draw any of those loose, super light hairs yet. Save it for the H-lead. There's a few bigger stray hairs up here. You can get those with the 2B lead as well. I think this could get a little darker. Same with this side. That looks good. The right side of her hair needs to be a bit darker as well. I'll just put in a few of these mid-tone hairs over here, then switch to an H-lead and put in the light hairs. Do your best to be honest and draw what you see. In other words, don't make the hairs perfectly flowing. If it seems frizzy, draw that. This is my favorite part of drawing a portrait. These lines are so light, you really can do no wrong. So have some fun. Be sure to get all these loose, random hairs haloing around her head. That's going to give your drawing a beautiful, realistic effect. Okay, that looks good. Now for one last look, some finishing touches, and it's done. Take a moment to step back and look at your work. I see a spot next to her eye that needs a light value. Really examine your drawing. Look for the subtle changes in shapes from light to shadow, and do your best to get every gradient perfect. I think this eyebrow can get a bit darker. Much better. The highlight on the eyebrow hair really stands out now, and that texture looks good to me. The shading on the shadow side of her neck could get built up a little more as well. The gradient on her jawline could be softer. There's a little more of a shadow on her shoulder. Okay, one last thing. I'm going to show you an easy trick to make sure your highlights pop and push the contrast a little. Turn your desk light off and look at your drawing in room light instead of the bright direct light from your drawing lamp. Then step back and compare your drawing to your reference. Doing this will fool your eye into thinking everything's too dark and make you want to brighten up the light areas, making your drawing look more dynamic. It doesn't need much, just use your rubber eraser to dab away any spots that look like they should be lighter. It will also help you see spots that are too bright. For example, the area below her nose needs a light value. It shouldn't be as bright as the highlighted areas. Finally, using your sharpened eraser, go back over your highlights and make sure they're all bright white. And finished. That concludes the course. If you enjoyed the lessons and had success learning the process, please leave me a review. I enjoy reading them and appreciate the support. And keep a lookout for additions and bonus material that I'll be adding to the course in the future.